Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo discuss Colby Covington's next fight. Covington last fought almost a year ago in his second attempt to capture undisputed championship. His performance was underwhelming, and Leon Edwards successfully defended his title by unanimous decision after 5 rounds. From being the hottest contender in the division before his first fight with Kamaru to someone that rarely gets brought up in conversations in any championship context, Colby's welterweight story has been an interesting one, not least because of his antics. Over the period of a year, he has been desperately trying to gain a place in the headlines, making provocative statements toward different fighters, appearing in various interviews fairly frequently, and basically keeping his persona alive. Recently, he made a claim that he almost stepped in on short notice to fight with Shavkat when Bilal Muhammad pulled out, but that it somehow fell through, obviously without his fault. A couple of days later, UFC announced his next fight against Joaquin Buckley. USMAN and Cejudo react to the news and break down the matchup.
All of those things work great when you're fighting a guy that's not a wrestler that can't change levels. Colby will, instead of evading the way Wonderboy was, what do we do as wrestlers? We change levels, cut you down. And so we'll see. Only time will tell, because Colby's been out for a while, and what's the word I'm looking at? Historically speaking, time hasn't really been the great factor for Colby Covington in between these fights. So, yes, I don't know. I don't know. I like the fight though. I like that fight. I'm actually excited to see that fight. Also, I'm excited to see, but I'm just excited to see the division working. I'm excited to see these matchups happening, people fighting each other. So it's just great.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I can't wait to see how we close out the year.
Legendary boxing coach and analyst Teddy Atlas breaks down Jon Jones' victory on UFC 309 and gives his opinion on whether Aspinall's speed could pose any problems to him. Jon's masterful performance put the GOAT back under a spotlight, with many fans being more excited than ever to see how far the heavyweight champion takes his practically undefeated record after dismantling Stipe and giving out a vague hint about his future immediately after the bout. His comments on the post-fight press conference were ambiguous, sometimes making contradictory statements about the potential of the Aspinall fight taking place, finally ending on a positive note of it being possible if UFC's offer is financially lucrative enough. A day later, Tom posted that we can expect some news soon, something that can be interpreted very positively in relation to the fight that the whole community wants to see. What could easily become the biggest fight in heavyweight history, as Dana White predicts it, isn't unlikely to happen, given the company's interest in keeping Jon around for a few more fights. Teddy Atlas reacts to Jon's performance against Stipe and offers analysis on how Aspinall would match up with him.
Makes it up as he goes. Yeah. You know, he creates things. To me, I use as an example, as a metaphor for Jimi Hendrix, you know, on the guitar. He created his own notes, his own strings. You know, he played the damn thing upside down. The great ones create it as they do it. And I think we saw that tonight. Jones didn't know he was going to do that, but it made sense at the moment. And there's one other thing that I think we overlook. Believe it or not, it's hard to overlook anything with a guy this talented and this special, but his jab. We don't talk about that enough. He don't throw it enough. But when he does throw it, it never misses. He could be the fastest guy in the world. Go be fast. Be fast over there where you're not using it on me, because I'm controlling where you can and can't go. The jab has a lot to say about that. When you have a jab like he has, you can, and it can surprise even a guy like Aspinall, because you'll be thinking of the kicks, you'll be thinking about the right hand, because he landed a beautiful right hand off the jab. So you forget the jab, you just said, well, that right hand.
Yeah. Jon Jones gets into a dangerous situation, contemplating cracking some skulls open after a group of disrespectful fans shout obscenities at him. Fortunately, hearing worrying news about Jones's problems outside of the octagon hasn't been a frequent thing lately, but the heavyweight champion got really close to unleashing on some individuals after hearing their remarks. Bones, as he put it, was as much shocked as irritated at a group of people that would crumble in front of him in any real situation, without cameras and protection of public spaces, yelling the most disrespectful things at him. When speaking about the generation of people that hide behind screens or cameras to troll and be provocative, Bones revealed that recently he encountered a group of fans that were yelling things at him and shared how surprising it was to witness such a thing. Jon came close to running up on them, but changed his mind. Then, he said he hoped some old school guy smacked them upside the head.
I took notice to these about 3 or 4 young men that were sitting together, and they had to have been anywhere from 19 to maybe 23 years old. And bro, they were yelling the most reckless stuff to me, and I was just like, I had never had someone, I mean, face to face. I mean, I guess I can't call it face to face because they're about 40 yards from me and a group of people. But I had never had someone disrespect me like that, like so publicly. And I was thinking, there has to be an old head Johnny Bones fan up there that's gonna go pop one of these kids in their head. Like, they were just saying whatever the fuck they wanted.
It's crazy.
It's interesting.
They do it for shock value, you know?
I actually feel bad. I feel bad for our youth. I really do. And I don't know if there's a way to fix it, but.
CORY SADNHAGEN talks about his future in the bantamweight division and expresses frustration at Sean O'Malley because of the antics and unwillingness to fight him. While the Sandman put up a great fight against Umar Nurmagomedov, in his last outing, he still fell short. In a closely contested fight, the threat of a takedown and the grappling exchanges themselves gave Khabib's cousin the upper hand. Umar was very complimentary of CORY following the bout, and even stated that he believes the two will fight again in the future, as he views SADNHAGEN as one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. Not long after the defeat, Sandman started to look for a new matchup, planning to get back on a winning streak and closer within the range of a championship fight. The most logical next move for him was the Sean O'Malley fight. And given the fans' enthusiasm about this possibility, as it promises a stylistically entertaining matchup, and Sean having lost the title in his last bout, it would be natural for the UFC to book this one. But O'Malley hasn't been too keen on this. Merab trying to avoid fighting Umar and give Sean a rematch also doesn't help CORY's situation. The Sandman comments on all of this.
I think what I'll say about O'Malley is, I think that he's definitely a real good competitor. Like, I don't think that you get that good and get as far as he got without being a really good, like, disciplined competitor. So he kind of acts like this, like Malibu's Most Wanted, like, kind of like funny guy, you know, that's like, doesn't take life serious and all of that. But he actually is a real good fighter, and he's obviously really disciplined. But what kind of irks me about the way that things are set up and with guys in his position is the way that they do things seems like the way that politicians do things, where they try to like navigate the narrative and control the narrative. And what they do is they pretty much like just trash on a bunch of people, like overlook what is like the honest answer and the correct answer, which is to fight me. And then he still like calls out Merab, and then Merab like takes the bait, of course, because Merab doesn't want to fight Umar for whatever reason. He doesn't. I think that Merab would actually do pretty good against the Umar.